Hello and welcome to the first edition of Warcast by Wind. This is age 110. We're at year 2 already, and we're going to be looking at the 5-2 versus 6-10 war. These are 25 province kingdoms, and so, this is what war is all about and has been for some time. So that's what we're going to be looking at today in this shorter video. Look at these awesome splash screens. Amazing stuff. Thank you so much to the artists that created this stuff for me. Couldn't do this without you. Alright, and without further ado, let's stop wasting time and get down to business. Alright, the two kingdoms in question we're talking about today are Kung Fu Hustle, which is 5-2. Let me just pull them up for you here. I just got some news that I pulled. Just want to show you what they're up to. So we got Kung Fu Grip, that's 5-2, versus Los Campeones Dorados. Campeones Dorados? I'll have to look that up to see what Campeones actually means. But it doesn't look like they've really had that 6-10, by the way. It doesn't look like Dorados hasn't really done anything until now. I mean, Kung Fu Grip is their first war, so it's definitely a good test of their abilities. Currently, it looks like they're down net worth. I believe they're a little bit there. Let me just check if they're up in acres. Yeah, they're up in acres, but down in honor. So it definitely looks like Kung Fu Grip is taking this war right now, just basically looking at their kingdom pages. And they do have 2 war wins already, Politics as Usual 1-9 and Message for War 6-7. Now if we look at these other 2 kingdoms, 6-7 is a 25 province kingdom. They haven't had any other wars since then. And they got a fairly dryad heavy loadout here. Obviously that wasn't enough dryads and dwarfs to beat Kung Fu Grip. And then on Kingdom 1-9, Politics as Usual, they haven't changed their banner. I like this banner, actually, it's pretty good. I believe they were 25 when the age started, but they're 24 right now. I think they did win the war against Themeless, and of course they did lose to Kung Fu Grip, as discussed. Currently at war with the Most Beautiful Tariffs. I believe that's the Donald Trump kingdom. But again, it looks like an orc and dwarf heavy kingdom. I'm not sure if I have any intel on these guys. I kind of do. Dwarf Artisan, Fairy Mystic. I'm not too sure about their orcs. I would imagine they're probably some kind of cleric or warrior, possibly tactician. I mean, those seem to be the top 3 orc picks, besides what Kung Fu Grip is actually doing. And we'll look at that right now, actually, see what they're actually up to. Kung Fu Grip did something a little bit different here. They've actually got Orc Artisans, which is actually a really smart idea. Fairy Cleric, which is very interesting. I wonder if Bloodsport appears to be an attacking province. As you can see, he's got fairly high defense, and he's got some offense there. Quite a bit of offense, actually, so it's interesting they're running Fairy Clerics. I wouldn't be surprised if all these 2 fairies are possibly clerics. I wonder if they're doing that for the self-spell duration bonus to help cast more offensive spells. That would be a good idea. Halfling rogues, so these rogues are probably all halflings. They got dark elves for mystics, which is actually really smart because you don't pay for spells, basically. You don't need runes. So you get to cover all your durations, do a bunch of fireballs, and you can do your pitfalls and blizzards, whatever you need to do, explosions, all for no runes whatsoever. And again, the Orc Artisans is a very good choice, combined with Dwarf Artisan. I mean, these guys must be cranking out runes and GC like crazy. Very strong combination here, what they chose. Quite a mix too. This is definitely a top tier kingdom. I mean, they've got 25 provinces. I mean, you don't have to say anymore. But yeah, so that's kind of their comp, whereas Dorados is more of like a standard setup, like Orc Warriors, Fairy Mystics, Halfling Rogues, Dwarf Artisans. I mean, they're all probably the same. I didn't have time to pull intel on all of them, but just to give you some idea, let's check their highest guy here. 134k offense and 91k defense. I mean, that's not super impressive. Let's see what we got on the Kung Fu Grip side. 136k on the Orc Artisan for offense and 76.9 defense. So, you know, it's definitely pretty close in terms of their top orcs there. But definitely, you know, certainly seems like Kung Fu Grip has got a grip on this war. I'm going to look at the target finder quickly. Let's see here. Right, so here we are. Dorados versus Kung Fu Grip. Kung Fu Grip is in red. I believe the way they started the war is they were initially waived for acres. I've got it actually here. Here we go. So this is 5-2's news. It looks like 5-2 was originally pillaging. Sorry, 610 was originally pillaging 5-2, and in February, I guess before their war started, they had a fresh ritual onslaught show up, and then they started on Feb 20th their Ruby Dragon against Kung Fu Grip, and of course Kung Fu Grip started a Ruby Dragon back at them. El Dragon Keri. Okay, so I'm using some fancy other languages here to communicate with each other. If you want, you just Google that yourself. You figure out what it is. Looks like they've started an additional onslaught, as I said. But yeah, so it looks like 610 was pillaging 5-2, and then eventually they started taking some land as well. And that was the first little clip of news that I got when the war first started. Unfortunately, I don't have any more of that. One other thing I wanted to point out is how much aid is actually going back and forth between these two kingdoms. So 682 instances of aid have gone back and forth in 610, and on the 5-2 side, they've got over 1,014 aid packages that have been going back and forth. I mean, look at this news. It's so much aid. Like, you know, I periodically do see this much aid going back and forth, but not so much in every war. It doesn't look like there's no dragons here on this news that I can point out. There is a guy named Dragon, so that's kind of was messing it up. But as you can see, they have been doing some massacres here. We're going to take a look at the I did actually pull a news summary from this, but I wanted to point out some of the dragons first. I believe they were over here. Dragon. See, they actually have this guy named Dragon. So here we go. So I guess the Ruby Dragons went through. They probably obviously slayed them both, because I didn't see dragons on either of them. But it looks like Kung Fu Grip started a Sapphire Dragon, which is already currently on 610. I thought I saw them started. They did start another Sapphire Dragon, I believe. Hold on a second. Sapphire, there we go. So yeah, they did send on July 4th a Sapphire Dragon. That's Kung Fu Grip sent it to 610, and then at the same time they started an additional Sapphire Dragon project. From what I can tell, it doesn't seem like 610 has actually started another dragon after their Ruby, and it looks like they're both still running Onslaught at the moment. If we take a look at the news format that I did here, we can take a quick look at what's actually been going down. This, mind you, this is only from June 2nd to July 16th. It's a 39-day period. If we're looking at 610 here, they've actually got 7 bounces, which never works out well for anybody. I mean, that could basically contribute to losing the war. Not doing very many ambushes. They're low on trad marches, as opposed to Kung Fu Grip. You can see they have more trad marches, more ambushes. They got a couple raises in there. 0 raises on 610. 17 massacres, kind of low, from 5-2, and only 1 massacre from 610. And just to look down here, you can take a quick look at what's going on here. Keep in mind they did both have Onslaught. So if you look at their uniques here, it looks like, 5-2 must have just had their wave when I pulled this news. So 610 is going to have a couple more uniques, but I mean, look at this Enter the Dragon guy. He's got 6 uniques, and then El Humo Negro has 5 uniques, which is kind of, they're ahead of the pack, definitely. But like I said, when I pulled this news, it's just that time. And if you look at, like, who's been getting chained and whatnot, 5-2 seems like they've definitely been sunk a little bit more, whereas 6-10 doesn't seem to have taken as many hits, or they've recovered. I don't think 5-2 is chaining them as deeply as 6-10 is chaining them. I mean, you have to look at the numbers here on the target finder. If we look at the change in acres here, and that's like, these are pretty these are pretty deep. Not really. I mean, like 400 is kind of like not even deep, really. That's kind of just a regular chain. But as you can see, there's not very many provinces under 1,000 acres on Kung Fu Grip's side. But on Dorados' side, Kung Fu Grip's really been sticking it to them and making sure that they're getting as many of their provinces under 1,000 acres or even 400 acres as possible. Because I mean, what you're looking for is just to get those ogres and armies to desert, and force them to make tough choices if they want to march or do anything. As you can see, net worth wise, Kung Fu Grip is definitely taking the lead. I mean, the way this started out, Kung Fu Grip was the one being attacked initially with plunders and trad marches, so it makes sense that they come in a little bit smaller net worth wise. But as you can see, they're quickly taking the lead. I mean, wave over wave, they're pushing them down, but then 6-10 has their wave, pushes them back down. The number of convergences here is actually epic. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, and then kind of after 7, Kung Fu Grip is kind of breaking away net worth wise, and you can see this trend, this staircase trend that 6-10 Dorados is doing right now is starting to drop a little bit more each time, and with every wave that Kung Fu Grip is doing, it's impacting them a lot more. You can see the shape that's being created here and the downward angle of their net worth as they're going. That's the net worth side of things. Let's take a quick look at the land side of things. Hopefully the game doesn't break. Land side of things, you can see there's heavy swings back and forth. I mean, that's from the deep chaining. Definitely Kung Fu Grip just had their wave, so that's why things are showing up. They're having more uniques and whatnot. But again, convergence on every wave here. That's nice to see. I love seeing convergences. Convergence is good. Honor-wise, again, it looks like Kung Fu Grip just had their wave, but the way that Dorados is attacking with their chains as well, they're making sure to get back as much honor as possible. So in this case, this is actually, it seems like, well, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's the way what they were doing. I mean, they were attacking provinces with the most honor to get the most honor back and retain the most honor, but that doesn't seem to be stopping Kung Fu Grip. However, if you look at the big picture, Kung Fu Grip is being dragged down while Dorados is kind of climbing up a little bit honor-wise. But again, if you look at the actual numbers down here, Kung Fu Grip's at 56,000 honor, and Dorados is at 41,000 honor. So while this does appear to be relatively close together, it's actually quite far apart. And that's just the way she goes. Now, in terms of this war, I mean, Kung Fu Grip has the 2 war wins behind them, so they've got science bonuses. They probably went in with more elites, I'm just guessing, and they definitely have a stronger econ, because if they're running orcs and dwarfs as their core artisans, I mean, like, the amount of resources they must be banking must be fantastic. I mean, to say the least, compared to more standard orc warrior or orc cleric setup or orc tactician setup. I mean, they do have some dwarfs here. These dwarfs are probably artisans as well. I think, did I pull one of the dwarfs? Yeah, the dwarfs are artisans as well. I mean, that's no surprise there. I do actually have like a little bit of information on them here from data that I did pull, or that I had someone else grab for me. But as you can see, these rogues on 5-2 are pretty high defense, 289. I doubt that 6-10 actually has the offense to break that. Yeah, no way. I mean, even their half are rogues. You see they're at 122k. This guy's in a dangerous spot, the Grand Maestro. That's their king. But as you can see, just from this old data that I have, it's not even that old, it's a couple ticks old. But like, for instance, this very cleric, if he marches his entire army, he could break their halfer, whereas nobody even comes close to breaking this Ong Bak guy. So definitely looks like I mean, of course, net worth 1, land rank 1, honor rank 2. We're gonna say, definitely looks like Kung Fu Grip is gonna take this war. I don't think I have too much more data on this one right now, aside from, again, look at all the aid packages. It's insane. It's a very nice war, actually. And if you look at the net worth saturation at the top end, you can see that even though Kung Fu Grip has more acres, their diehard orc at the top here has a higher net worth per acre and higher net worth overall. So that just tells me that he's probably got more ogres, he's got more TPA, WPA, most likely just more ogres, and probably, the net worth is in part due to the additional acres, but I mean, his net worth per acre dilution is not as low as La Cruz Spectral. So if we look at the flip side of things, who's getting chained on the the higher net worth per acre, it looks like the Monarch of Kung Fu Grip was actually just attacked, probably in their last wave. He's overpop right now, or very close to overpop still, so he's still working on getting his population under control, 281. But these guys who are just chained, I guess they've already released their troops, probably sent them to the dragon. I would imagine that Sapphire Dragon is still sitting on them. If not, then it's probably already dead by now. I'd have to take some intel just to see. In fact, let's just do a little live intel here. Why not? Holy cow, all these aid packages are hard to get through. Okay, let's see if we can do this here. See if the game will break. Come on, break. Come on, game, don't break. Alright, let's see if 610 has... Let's see if 610 has a dragon on them still. Who is the guy that I was targeting? Probably one of their bigger guys. For anyone who doesn't really understand how taking intel works, this is a pretty good lesson. I mean, one of the easiest ways is just to go after the guy with the lowest net worth per acre, number 4 orc. Usually cores are pretty easy to get into, so we'll just check him out there. I'm gonna see if I can get into his throne here. My TPA is very low right now, but there we go. Okay, so the dragon's already gone. They must have killed it at some point, probably either just recently or... Because I definitely didn't have anything in here that said it's slain. Oh, there you go. Yeah, okay, so on July 6th, they actually did slay the dragon. And that would have been the Sapphire Dragon. Yeah, so it would have been this Sapphire Dragon here that was sent on July 4th from Kung Fu Grip. So they slew that, but Kung Fu Grip's already started their next dragon, which is, from what I can tell, is still not shown up yet. Heck, why not? Why not just waste it here? We'll check it out. We'll snatch some more news on him. See what's going on at the bottom here. Yeah, so it looks like, nothing, no other dragons have showed up. And it's just business as usual right now. So aside from that, this is it was a pretty tight war, I think, in the beginning, but ultimately what it's coming down to is activity. So the number of aid packages going back and forth tells me that Kung Fu Grip is super active. They're communicating very well, and all their players really have a good handle on the way the game works. Acres wise, their Kung Fu Grip's up in acres now. They're up in honor, up in net worth. It's only a matter of time before Dorados withdraws. I kind of wish I was able to do a little bit more earlier on this war when it first started, because it was definitely a nice tight war. But as you can see, the Kung Fu Grip is just breaking away. And again, it comes down to their comp setup. I mean, you got a whole kingdom. Their whole core is artisan, I would imagine, because you got dwarf artisans and orc artisans. That's pretty tough to deal with econ wise, especially near the beginning. That's a very, very good choice for a core. And then not to mention all these half rogues and dark elf mystics that they got. I mean, this kingdom's got it locked down this age, that's for sure. They got 2 war wins already, so they got all the extra books and everything out of that, and looks like they're on their way to a 3rd war win. Very likely Kung Fu Grip will be the first kingdom to hit the 3-3 war win score and be the top 25 kingdom and top kingdom worldwide, who will be only wins. Will be the #1 feature of the only wins section of my next news report. All right, and so that's pretty much all the information I have for you today on this war. I did kind of want to keep this cast a little bit shorter. It does look like we still hit the 20-minute mark, which is kind of what I'm usually aiming for. I hope this more condensed, more focused news report is something that you guys are more interested in. I'm going to try and do some more of these in the future, focusing primarily on individual kingdoms, specifically the ones that have only wins, and anyone kind of in the 22 to 25 range are kind of where I'm going to pick these kingdoms from. But obviously I'm going to start at the top. If there's a 25 versus 25 war, I'm going to go with that. If it's not, then I'll go with the 24, then 23, then 22, and so on and so forth. And the idea generally is that, I'm going to try and catch it at the beginning of the war so we can look at the hostile and then look at, get our rituals and dragons, make sure that we have all those identified. And of course, I'll be trying to get a little bit more intel. Unfortunately, this age is not very good for intel for me right now, because our kingdom's just not operating the same way we were. We're kind of on like a relaxed break age this time around, because fortunately, not too many of us have that much spare time because of work, but we're still around doing some stuff, just not as active as last age. So thank you for joining me for this warcast of year 2, age 110, featuring Kung Fu Grip and Dorados. 5-2 versus 6-10. Be sure to check out the next warcast. There should be some, and definitely more special features coming up this weekend. And just so you guys know, it is actually Friday today, so this weekend is just around the corner. Thanks so much for listening, everyone, and be sure to tune in to the next warcast.